You know, we've all been there. Someone asks you that super simple, everyday question, and your answer is just, well, kind of simple. But what if the story of your day could sound as interesting and dynamic as it actually was? This question. It's got to be the most common way to start a conversation, right? And yet, so often, it just leads to a total dead end. But it doesn't have to be that way. This can actually be the start of a great story that really connects you with someone. So on the left, you see our old friends, fine, busy. Okay. Sure, they get the job done, but they don't really build any connection, do they? We're going to explore how to fill up that column on the right, not just to sound more interesting, but to actually connect with people and, hey, maybe even understand our own days a little better. And of course, every daily story starts in the exact same place, the morning, which, for most of us, is less of a peaceful awakening and more like a really intense negotiation. Yeah, just forget about those picture-perfect morning routines you see all over the internet. A real morning is usually a bit quirky, you know? A little weird, but in a totally human way. And it almost always kicks off with that silent battle against the alarm clock. This quote just nails that feeling perfectly, doesn't it? That whole internal fight between being a responsible adult and just wanting 5 more minutes. And that phrase right there, go overboard, oh, that's a good one. So going overboard is exactly what it sounds like. It just means doing way too much of something. You know, hitting snooze once, totally fine. Hitting it 4, 5, 6 times until you're in a full-blown panic, that's going overboard. You've definitely gone a bit too far. And here's that little language upgrade in action. See the difference? Instead of just stating a plain fact, you're painting a much more vivid picture. You're describing the feeling and the action with so much more color. It's a tiny change, but it makes a huge difference in your story.
And that morning rush, it has a real domino effect. It can leave you feeling scattered, like your thoughts are just bouncing all over the place. Or maybe you zone out on your commute. You're just kind of staring out the window, not really thinking about anything at all.
Okay, so let's ride this into the next chapter of the day, trying to get through the workday, which can honestly feel like you're trying to surf a giant wave without wiping out.
Right? You sit down, you open that laptop, and bam, the day just hits you like a ton of bricks. It's a flood of emails, messages, tasks. Before you've even finished your first cup of coffee, you can feel completely, totally swamped. And that's such a perfect word for it. Being swamped is so much more than just being busy. It's that feeling of being completely overwhelmed, almost like you're trying to walk through deep, muddy water and the tasks just keep piling up around you. But listen, you don't have to drown in that swamp. A really great strategy is to just whip through a few easy tasks first. That just means doing them super quickly and efficiently. It gives you a little momentum and helps you get back that feeling of being in control. Now, on the other hand, if you try to do everything at once, you might end up feeling frazzled. And that's not just tired, it's that specific chaotic feeling. Almost like your brain's a little bit overcooked and everything inside is a total mess. The workday usually has this kind of rhythm to it. You start off feeling swamped, hopefully you get a little reset at lunch, but then you hit that 3 p.m. wall where it's so tempting to just rush. But you gotta remember that old saying, haste makes waste. Rushing just means you'll probably make mistakes you have to fix later.
So a huge survival skill for work these days is learning how to politely wiggle out of things. This isn't about being lazy or anything. It's about being clever and gently escaping those extra meetings or tasks that aren't really necessary so you can save your energy for what's actually important.
Okay, so after you finally shut that laptop, you get to the last big chapter, the evening. And this part of your story is all about the choices you're about to make. You basically have 2 paths you can go down. There's the wholesome path, which is going to leave you feeling calm and actually ready for tomorrow. And then there's the overboard path, you know, where you go overboard with scrolling on your phone. And that usually leaves you feeling even more tired and maybe a little bit regretful. So what do we even mean by a wholesome evening? Well, it's not about being super productive or anything. It's just about doing something simple, good, and emotionally healthy. Something that feels good for your heart, you know? Like cooking a nice meal or having a real chat with a friend.
And what happens when you make that wholesome choice? You feel rejuvenated. It's that awesome feeling of being refreshed with new energy. Your body might be tired from the day, but your mind feels sharp and ready for whatever comes next.
All right, so we've walked through a whole day, from that morning alarm clock negotiation to the choices you make at night. Now let's put all these awesome new words and phrases together into a little toolkit you can start using, like today. Okay, quick recap of our new toolkit. Instead of just saying busy, you can say you were swamped. Instead of just tired, maybe you were actually feeling frazzled. Remember, you can whip through those easy tasks, try to wiggle out of things you don't need to do, and definitely try not to go overboard with distractions. All of that helps you have a wholesome evening that leaves you feeling rejuvenated.
So here's the big takeaway. Your day, no matter how normal it might feel, is absolutely packed with these little moments and feelings. It's a real story. And when you use more colorful, specific words, you're not just sharing a better story with other people, you're also starting to see how interesting and rich your own life really is.
You negotiate with your alarm, you survive the work wave, you choose your evening. You do this every single day. So here's something to think about. The next time somebody asks how your day was, what kind of story are you going to tell?